Namaste everyone. Namaste dear students. Greetings and good wishes to you all. I always wish for your good health and beautiful smile. Let's break the chain and stop the spread during this pandemic situation. We need to tell our loved ones that we care them and we love them a lot. We need to protect ourselves and all those around us by breaking the chain and preventing the spread of the COVID-19 virus during this challenging situation. Get vaccinated at the first opportunity. All right. A simple precautions will keep us all secure and safe, and we can live longer. Keep that in your mind. Now it's time to wake up and mask up. Finally, stay home and break the chain. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to this lecture talk on contributions of Louis Pasteur. Today, in this lecture talk, I'm going to discuss with you many contributions of Louis Pasteur, one of the great personality in the field of microbiology. Louis Pasteur was born on December 27, 1822 in Dole, Jura, France, to a Catholic family of a poor tanner. He was the third child of Jean-Joseph Pasteur and Jeanne Ethilde Racquet. The family moved to Montreal in the year 1826 and then to Arbres in the year 1827. Pasteur entered primary school in the year 1831. In this picture representation, you can see their father and mother of Louis Pasteur. Okay, Louis Pasteur was basically a chemist, later switched to a biologist and became a microbiologist. Okay, his father was basically a tanner and a sergeant major who received Legion of Honor during the Napoleonic Wars in the year 1840. Further, Pasteur was born in a poor family and he was an average student in his early days of years. Okay, and not particularly very good at academics. Okay, as his interests were fishing and sketching and painting, etc. He drew many pastels and portraits of his parents, friends, and neighbors. And during his childhood time, he showed more interest in painting, and later he switched over to the biology. Because of his father's advice, he attracted to science during his teenage. Further, he took his bachelor degree in arts in the year 1840, in science 1842 from the Royal College of Besco. He received his doctoral degree from École Normale in Paris during the year 1847. In the year 1848, he became professor in chemistry at the University of Strasbourg and discovered molecular chirality, which is the basis for stereochemistry. In the year 1849, Pasteur married to Marie Laurent and they had five children together, only three of whom survived until adulthood. Pasteur observed tartaric acid and racemic acid mixtures, and there was a huge debate on these two molecules. That is, both chemicals have similar chemical structure, but their chemical properties were highly different. This was noticed by Louis Pasteur, and these molecules were the mirror image of the other. This discovery led to the branch of science, what we called stereochemistry. Further, in the year 1854, he became the Dean of Faculty of Science at the University of Lille, where he started working on the problems associated with manufacture of beer and wine. In the year 1856, Louis Pasteur received Rumford Medal for his discovery of the nature of racemic acid and its relations to polarized light. Further, in the year 1857, Pasteur returned to Paris to join as a director of scientific department in École Normale and worked on fermentation issues. In recognition of his path-breaking discoveries, a special institute was built for him by public support at Paris, okay, during that time, and he died in the year 1895 on September 28th at Paris. He was the director of the Pasteur Institute, which was established in the year 1887 until his death, and he died due to stroke, and his body was interred in a vault beneath the institute. Pasteur was a person who dedicated himself to the field of microbiology. Okay, his contribution to the development of microbiology are enormous, and he may be rightly called the father of microbiology. Further, now let us go through here Louis Pasteur contributions. First work, that was work on tartaric acid. Then discovery of microbial fermentation, disproving the theory of spontaneous generation, discovery of aerobic and anaerobic microbes, then germ theory of the disease. There you can mention work on silkworm disease. Okay, in this work he showed that the pebrine disease of silkworms was caused by protozoan, which was a parasite. Next, work on anthrax and rabies disease. He developed the vaccines for anthrax and rabies, and even to the chicken cholera. And he also explained the concept about pasteurization. Now let us go through the first contribution, work on tartaric acid. In the year 1847, at the age of 26, Pasteur did his first work on molecular asymmetry, bringing together the principle of crystallography, chemistry, and optics, okay, while working with tartaric acid crystals, which were supposed to reflect light in one direction only. Pasteur found that there were two kinds of such crystals having property known as polarization. One type of crystal polarized the light to the right, the other to the left. And they were actually exact replica of each other. By bringing the two types of these kind of crystals, Pasteur was able to produce an optically natural crystals. Thus, he proved that crystals that have two kinds of structure, named them isomers. So that was the work on tartaric acid. As a dean and a professor of chemistry at the University of Lille, Louis Pasteur started studying on to find solution to the problems associated with alcohol drink manufacture. Okay, here studies on alcohol showed that living cells, that is yeast, are responsible for forming the alcohol from sugar. And in his experiment, even he observed that bacterial organisms contamination brought sour wine. And in a series of experiment, even he explained that bacteria are responsible for souring of the wine, and yeast which are responsible for the good alcohol. Here you can see he has mentioned all his studies in the studies on fermentation, that is the diseases of beer, their causes, and the means of preventing them. Now let's focus on how he was able to discover this microbial fermentation, and yeast was responsible for the good wine. And this is microbial fermentation discovery is one of the greatest contribution, okay, during that time. And he was able to explain this microbial fermentation in a series of experiment. In his experiment, she showed that a mixture of grape juice and yeast yielded alcohol. His experiments on fermentation can be summarized as: first he took the albumin solution, okay, then he incubated, then there was no fermentation. He took the grape juice, he went for the incubation, then there was no fermentation. He took grape juice and pure yeast, went for the incubation, he got a wine. In his fourth experiment, he took the grape juice, pure yeast, then heat, no wine. In fifth experiment, grape juice he took, pure yeast, then bacteria. On incubation, he got sour wine. You must see here in the third experiment, after adding the yeast, he got a wine here. Okay. After heating, no wine here. After adding both yeast and bacteria on incubation sour wine. He compared these two. Okay. Sixth experiment he did by taking grape juice and pure yeast and bacteria, and he went on heating. After heating, he added the yeast. After adding the yeast, when for the incubation, he got a good wine. From this series of experiment, he concluded that bacteria are responsible for the souring of the wine, and yeast are responsible for the fermentation on incubation, and they have given actually a good wine. Okay, so this was the demonstration of discovery of microbial fermentation. It means here the organism is responsible for the conversion of the sugar into alcohol. Okay, so through his experiment, he demonstrated that alcoholic fermentations were the result of microbial activity. Now let us go to the brief history of microbiology. At the time of Aristotle, it was believed that the life arose from the non-living substances. This theory of origin of life was called abiogenesis. And during the Aristotle period of time, some of the people cited the example as a proof for abiogenesis. Abiogenesis means A means absence of life. So they have given the some of the examples like frogs appeared after rainy spill, maggots appear from the rotten fish, earthworms appear from soil, morning dew gave rise to fireflies, then warehouses gives rise to rats and mice. So these were some of the cited examples during the Aristotle period. But later, works of Francisco Redi and Louis Pasteur and even so many other people disproved the theory of abiogenesis, and they stated that all living organisms arise from pre-existing life only, not from the non-living things spontaneously. Okay, many scientists and philosophers believed that the spontaneous generation, okay, was actually the uh, proper statement. What is the spontaneous generation? Living organisms arise from the non-living substances. Later, Louis Pasteur, through his Swan neck experiment, disproved the theory of spontaneous generation and explained the statement that the life existed only from pre-existing life, not from the non-living things. Okay, here you can see he made the swan neck, okay, of the conical flask, and he was able to explain the concept of biogenesis theory to disprove the abiogenesis theory. Okay, so in his experiment, you can see here he has taken the long necked conical flask. Okay, here this experiment once again proved that the theory of biogenesis. Pasteur took a conical flask, okay, and in the flask he took a nutrient broth. He bent the neck of the flask in the form of swan neck, and then he boiled the solution and made it completely sterile. Even after many years, the microbes never found in the sterile broth. After some time, he broke the neck of the flask and found within a week time that their solution has changed the color, and the contamination of can be seen after examination. Okay, and in that particular content which was broken, the swan neck was broken, no, there he obtained the thousands of microbes in the broth. Earlier, the swan neck formed a trap for the microbes, and microbes could not enter the broth, and the solution remained sterile. Okay, when when the neck is broken, okay, when the neck is broken here, there is a free access for the microbes which entered the broth and grew there and made the solution turbid. Thus, it is not the broth that has given rise to microbes. Microbes have come from the outside and used the broth for their growth. It means broths are not responsible for to give rise to any kind of the life. Okay. And to explain the concept of biogenesis, even Francisco Redi explained in this 3-jar experiment. Okay. In the first jar, he kept the mouth of the jar open where the flies entered inside and they hatched the egg and maggots appeared, and from this rotten meat, there was the life. And to compare this closed and in the presence of the rotten meat, he covered this particular jar with the wire gas. Okay, gas covered with the jar. Here, no flies entered, but they laid eggs on the surface of the gas and hatched the maggots there, or eggs, which fell through the gas and hatched on the meat. Okay, so whereas in this particular third jar, he took here the parchment paper, which is made up of the animal skin, where the water the essence of flavor of the red dead meat, no, that flavor will not go outside. Totally, this was sealed jar. Okay, here no flies, maggots, or eggs that could enter this particular rotten meat. So there is no any kind of the life in this particular case. So this experiment also disproved the spontaneous generation. Okay, to support, Louis Pasteur also explained the concept of swan-necked experiment to prove again the biogenesis theory. Right? Louis Pasteur's pasteurization experiment illustrate the fact that the spoilage of liquid was caused by the particles present in the air rather than the air itself. It means in this particular water, the solution he has taken, or maybe wine he has taken, that wine or maybe a solution are not responsible to cause any kind of the raise of the organisms. Instead, what are the particles which are present in the air, they are responsible for that particular turbidity or growth of the microorganism. So these experiments were important pieces of evidence supporting this particular germ theory of the disease. It means there the presence of the some tiny organisms in the solutions. Okay, here you can see very clearly to explain this swan-necked experiment. First, he took the broth in a flask which is boiled to kill all the pre-existing microorganisms. Okay, after heating, there was no any growth of the microorganisms, as the conical flask neck was bent in such a way that their organisms were trapped here only. As broth cools, condensing water collects, then sealing the mouth of the flask here. And this became this trap, this design of the swan neck became the trap. And after so many years also, there was no any contamination. To understand this particular concept, you just break open the swan neck, okay, and he kept open this one. In this case, immediately the organisms which entered inside and made this particular solution turbid. Okay, so that proves the presence of the microorganisms. It means the air what entered inside the broth solution which carried the particles, and those particles were responsible to convert the solution from the sterile to the turbid condition. Okay, so this is about the swan-necked experiment. So in this experiment, he demonstrated that sterilized or heated sealed flask has no growth. While the sterilized and opened flask, there was a growth of microorganisms. Finally, Louis Pasteur suggested that open flask got easy access to microorganisms, and swan neck flask, there was a trap. When he break the swan neck flask, kept for some time, there was a growth of organisms. Eventually, he concluded through his swan neck experiment that microorganisms from air contaminated the sterile solutions, but air itself does not create any kind of microorganisms. Okay. Further, the next contribution is that discovery of aerobic microorganisms or Pasteur effect. Pasteur identified the fermentation process that could be arrested by passing air or oxygen and revealed the presence of anaerobic microorganisms. Okay, here he introduced about anaerobic microbes through the butyric acid fermentation. Okay, later he concluded that this is due to the inhibitory of the inability of the microorganisms to carry out fermentation in the presence of oxygen, and he introduced anaerobic and aerobic microorganisms designation, okay, that live in the presence or maybe absence of oxygen. So here Louis Pasteur explained the concept of anaerobic microorganisms and aerobic microorganisms. Since animals require oxygen for growth, scientists in that particular period of time, middle of the 19th century, assumed that microbes also require oxygen. Okay, it means they were not having any idea that without the oxygen also some organisms will grow. It means they were having the idea that aerobic organisms like us, they will also utilize the oxygen for their survival. During his studies on butyric acid fermentation, Pasteur discovered that microbes can survive in the absence of oxygen. Okay, on microscopic observation of this particular butyric acid bacteria, they stopped their motility completely. Okay, and there was no further any fermentation when the enter lid was opened. To confirm that, he just passed the current of air through the butyric fermentation broth and found that that resulted in the complete arrest or stop of the fermentation. So he was able to explain the concept of anaerobic microorganisms. It means there are some organisms they do not require oxygen and they showed their motility or maybe a metabolic activity or metabolism only in the absence of oxygen. So that made him to explain the concept about the anaerobic microbes. Thus, he concluded that the microbes require oxygen to grow are called aerobes, and those microbes which do not require oxygen are called anaerobes. Okay, Pasteur also showed that oxygen brings down the activity of anaerobes. He also explained that when to the anaerobic microorganisms, when you bring the contact of oxygen, they will slow down their microbial activity. Okay, so anaerobic organism, they'll be very active and their metabolic rate will be active only in the absence of oxygen. Okay, he also found that many other microorganisms, including yeast, okay, this should grow either in the presence or in the absence of oxygen. So these microbes he termed as facultative anaerobes. While performing the experiments with the yeast, he was unable to explain the concept of aerobic microorganisms and the anaerobic microorganisms because the yeast was able to survive in both presence of oxygen and the absence of oxygen. Okay, but when he was working with the butyric acid, they understood that the organisms, when they come in contact with the jet of air, they stopped their motility. Okay, and there was no any metabolic activity when the butyric acid fermentation container were kept opened. Okay, so this made him to explain the concept of aerobic microbes and anaerobic microbes. The next contribution is germ theory of disease. Okay, in the year 1865, Pasteur rescued the silk industry from the pebrine or pepper disease. Pebrine is a serious disease, okay, uh, of silkworms caused by protozoa, mainly Nosema bombensis and other species. Okay, what is this pebrine? Pebrine is a serious disease of silkworms. Okay, in the silkworms, this particular pebrine disease was observed. At France, that time pebrine disease of silkworms brought untold misery to the silk farmers. They were unable to come out from that particular disease and they were under loss. Pasteur observed that the silkworm larvae having pebrine are covered with the brown dots and are unable to spin silk thread properly. Okay, Louis Pasteur identified the cause of that particular disease and developed a method called graining, that is elimination of contaminants from females and preservation of healthy eggs was possible. Graining was done even during the plague disease, which was spread across France during that time. Here, Pasteur used the same graining technique that was adopted by silk producers throughout the world. After 5 years of painstaking, that is nothing but showing or involving diligent care and effort of this particular research behind the pebrine disease, in the year uh, from the year 1865 to 1870, he succeeded in saving the silk industry through a method called graining, which enabled the preservation of healthy eggs while eliminating those from contaminated females. This method is still used today in silk producing countries. Okay, here he just suggested that how to come out of that particular pebrine disease. Okay, let me just conclude about the work on silkworm disease, which was given by Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur showed that the pebrine disease of silkworms was caused by a protozoan parasite. In the year 1865, Pasteur found that the cause of pebrine, a disease affecting silkworms, was caused by protozoan microbe. And he suggested to the silk industry people that by choosing microbes-free egg for breeding, the disease wound will be controlled. Okay, Pasteur succeeded in demonstrating that the silkworms disease was caused by microscopic germ protozoa, and he concluded that the infection could be eliminated by choosing for breeding only those from which were free of the parasites. Okay, he explained that particular concept. We can, for the breeding, you can choose the worms which are totally free from the parasites or any kind of infection. Next, let's focus on work on anthrax and rabies disease. Okay, he developed vaccines including those for chicken cholera, anthrax, and vaccines. Pasteur demonstrated that the anthrax disease in sheep was caused by rod-shaped bacteria. He cultured them in sterilized yeast water and showed that inoculation of culture would cause the disease in the healthy animals. Nowadays, we have nutrient broth, nutrient agar, then MRBA, then Nuria Batanis agar. So many types of varieties of media are there, but they were not having any such kind of media. Standard media was not there. So they were using some of the grape juice and the solution, albumin solution, they were using as a nutrient to grow some of the microorganisms. Okay, in his experiment, he also showed that inoculation of weakened microbes to animals would provide them with the immunity and they would not contract any disease. And thus, he was able to discover the anthrax vaccine, what we call that as immunity. Immunity means what? Protection against the infection or defensive mechanism. So to explain this particular concept of chicken cholera and how we understood the concept of the attenuated immunity, let us understand one of the classical experiment of Pasteur with chicken cholera. Now let us understand this classic experiment. In the year 1880, Pasteur isolated a bacterium responsible for chicken and he grew it in pure culture. Okay, this is the pure culture. In a group A, he inoculated the group of chicken cholera A and that remains healthy after some weeks. He repeated this experiment using two groups of chicken A and chicken B. Okay, so here he took the aged culture of chicken cholera bacterium and here he took fresh culture of chicken cholera bacterium. See, we are using the word aged here. There is a story behind this particular experiment. One day, Louis Pasteur, he kept the culture in his laboratory, okay, and he went to the sabbatical leave, okay, and he insisted is one of the assistant to look after that particular culture, okay, and he kept that culture in the laboratory and even his assistant also went on a sabbatical leave. Both went on a sabbatical leave after so many days unattended his laboratory. They were back and they injected the whatever the culture which was kept for long days. When they injected those culture to the organism, laboratory animal, there was no any contract of disease and they were very surprised. There was no any kind of the cause of the disease or any symptom. So repeatedly they checked with that particular old culture and they understood that old culture was unable to cause any kind of disease, okay, and instead that a particular old culture has showed the reduced virulence. Okay, and that made Louis Pasteur to think about vaccination. So he started explaining that concept by using aged aged culture and the fresh culture. Okay, he was able to understand the concept and the principle behind that particular aged culture and the fresh culture. So to explain that concept, aged culture which acted like a reduced virulence, and instead they have given the immunity against that particular disease. So he explained this classical experiment. Okay, here he took the aged group of chicken cholera bacterium, and in the another conical flask fresh culture of chicken cholera bacterium. This aged culture of chicken cholera bacterium was injected to the healthy laboratory chicken, and that particular chicken was totally free from chicken cholera. Okay, and he took here the fresh culture of the chicken bacterium. This chicken fresh bacterium was injected to the chicken which was previously injected with the aged culture, and this chicken was totally free from the cholera. And when he injected the fresh culture of chicken cholera bacterium to the normal healthy chicken, this chicken died because of that particular contracting of the disease through the fresh culture, and chicken died. Okay, so Pasteur concluded that the bacteria lose their ability to produce disease or maybe a virulence characteristics. Virulence means pathogenicity. Virulence characteristics after standing and growing old, but their attenuated, that is, having decreased virulence bacteria still retained the capacity for uh, stimulating the host to produce substances, that is antibiotics, that protect host against subsequent exposure to the virulent organism. Okay, so this is one of the classic experiment of Pasteur to explain the concept of vaccination against the chicken cholera by using the aged culture of the bacterium and the fresh culture of the bacterium. Okay, in the year 1880, Pasteur isolated the bacterium responsible for the chicken, and that he grow it in the pure culture. Okay, and he injected into the group A and group B animal, and he was able to explain the concept of vaccination against the chicken cholera. Okay, Pasteur's great achievement was the successful application of the principle of vaccination to the prevention of rabies in human being and the development of rabies vaccine in the year 1885. For this rabies vaccine also, he did the same type of procedure, how he was able to explain the concept of protection against the infection with the chicken cholera. Here, he did not find the germs of this disease under his microscope. Now, that was known as rabies virus, okay? But he was able to propagate them by artificial inoculation into the brains of dogs and rabbits. Finally, he evolved a system of vaccination with weakened virus which prevented the development of this fatal disease. Pasteur successfully applied the principle of protective vaccination to another dangerous human disease, rabies or hydrophobia caused due to the mad dog bite. Pasteur developed the vaccine of weakened organisms, that is virus, that provided immunity against the fatal disease. Fatal means deadly disease. In the year 1879, Louis Pasteur worked with the disease of anthrax caused by Bacillus anthracis, right? Chicken cholera or fowl cholera brought serious problems in the chicken. At that time, he observed that bacteria are responsible for the cause of disease. Anthrax is an infectious disease that affected the cattle, sheep, etc. And this is a zoonotic infection. Zoonotic diseases means which is also known as zoonose, are caused by germs that spread between animals and people that can be transmitted into a man. Anthrax was responsible for killing large population of the sheep in France and was detrimental to man and caused serious problem to the economy of people. Okay. Then Pasteur developed a mild harmless or attenuated culture of the anthrax bacteria, and he used that attenuated culture to vaccinate cattle and sheep, and finally they became immune to the disease. Attenuated culture means that is the old culture or maybe reduced virulence characters. When you say that reduced virulence means they acted like a immunity to the against the same disease. Here, Pasteur used weakened or attenuated culture to get rid of chicken cholera and anthrax disease to immunize animals, and it was very successful. Okay, even in the documentary, it is noticed that the attenuated culture, which brings the virulence property, people were did not believe. So he injected himself some of the infectious agent, and he showed them to the people that the reduced virulence or aged culture organisms are unable to cause the disease. Instead, they act like a immunity. His anthrax and chicken cholera attenuated vaccine work revolutionized in infectious diseases. Later, Louis Pasteur gave these attenuated or weakened culture the generic name of vaccines in honor of Jenner discovery. Okay, because earlier the same process of vaccination was given by the Edward Jenner for the smallpox. Nowadays, smallpox is totally eradicated. The smallpox virus was virus was killed. Okay, that virulence was reduced by using the cowpox virus. Okay, the founding step of vaccination was first initiated by Edward Jenner against the smallpox, right? That time he used cowpox virus to kill the smallpox virus. So um, he used cowpox virus as a tool to kill smallpox virus. So that cowpox virus he took and he explained about the concept of immunity. So that process name was given as vaccination. It means in Latin vacca means a cow. From the cowpox, he was able to eradicate the smallpox during that time. So in honor of that particular Edward Jenner work, Pasteur named that particular process as vaccination. In the year 1822, Pasteur worked with an epizootic swine erysipelas, an acute disease, sometimes recurrent disease caused by a bacterial infection characterized by a large raised red patches on the skin. Okay, he worked on that particular swine erysipelas. Then he was able to succeed in that to overcome from that particular problem. He developed the vaccine against bacterial infection. Then he also carefully studied and discovered several other infectious diseases as those caused carried by Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, and Pneumococcus. Okay, rabies is a highly contagious infection, and it is a viral disease that attacks central nervous system, which is transmitted via the bite of rabbit animal. Okay, in the year 1885, Pasteur administered his rabies vaccine to Joseph Mister, a young boy bitten by rabid dog, and saved his life. Okay, through the attenuated vaccine administration, Pasteur was able to rescue that boy against rabies disease. To help or support and to treat future causes of rabies and other diseases, Pasteur Institute was established in the year 1888 at Paris with monastery donations, which came from all over the world, and with support Pasteur Institute was built. With the people support, Pasteur Institute was built. It means to construct that particular laboratory, he got the money from the monastery donations and also from the people support. Whatever the people were giving the donations, by using that, the institute was built, and that later that institute was named as Pasteur Institute. He was the director of the Pasteur Institute, established in the year 1887 until his death, and he died due to stroke, and his body was interned in a vault beneath the institute. His medical discovery provided direct support for the germ theory of the diseases and its applications in clinical medicine. Although Pasteur was not the first person to propose the germ theory of the disease, others were also there to support that particular germ theory of the disease. Even others also they have worked, but his most of the experiment indicated experimental evidence or proof and correctness of that particular germ theory of the disease. Okay, so here you can see the Institute of Pasteur. The Pasteur Institute is a French non-profit private foundation dedicated to the study of biology, microorganisms, and disease-related and vaccines production-related work will be going on this Pasteur Institute. It is named after Louis Pasteur, who made some of the greatest breakthroughs in modern medicine at that particular time, including pasteurization and vaccines for anthrax and rabies. The institute was founded on June 4th, 1887 and inaugurated on November 14th, 1888. Okay, so we can, if anybody asks question, what is vaccination or what are vaccination, you can give this answer. Okay, inoculation of healthy individuals with weakened forms of microorganisms. Weakened means that is reduced virulence or attenuated organisms that would otherwise cause disease. Okay, that it is not attenuated means that will cause the disease. Attenuated means they will not cause the disease. Instead, they will be having the virulence property. Okay, to provide protection or to activate immunity from the disease upon later exposure, the vaccination will be given. Pasteur and Rox reported that incubating cultures longer than normal in the lab resulted in attenuated bacteria that could no longer cause disease. Further, working with chicken cholera, he noticed that animals injected with attenuated cultures were totally resistant to the disease. To summarize his contribution, the first contribution to the field of microbiology, that is as a chemist, stereochemistry, that is molecular asymmetry, then fermentation and silk worker disease, germ theory of disease, then attenuated vaccines for chicken cholera, anthrax, and rabies. He developed the process of attenuation during his work on chicken cholera in falls. He found old cultures would not kill the animals as fresh cultures did. This attenuation is now used in protective vaccination against diseases. Now, the last contribution, that is discovery of pasteurization. In the year 1863, on request of the Emperor of France, Napoleon, Louis Pasteur started studying on wine contamination and to enhance preservation capability to help wine manufacturer because they were losing economy of the wine contamination because they were not having that particular preservation quality of the wine, so they were under loss. So this problem was sorted by Louis Pasteur. Through his experiment, he showed that contamination caused by microbes. To prevent the growth of the unwanted microbes, he developed a methodology to prevent contamination. Okay, here Pasteur started heating the wine to 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. Here, through heating, wine could be stored for a long time. That concept was given by Louis Pasteur during that time. And this process known as pasteurization. This heating process was used for the preservation of mainly foods and beverages, particularly milk. To honor Louis Pasteur, that heating process known as pasteurization. Nowadays, we can see this pasteurization, almost all dairy products, food beverages will be able to see. Okay, to summarize about Louis Pasteur was from the French, born on 27 December 1822, died on 28 September 1895, and he was a French chemist and microbiologist renowned for his discoveries of the principles of vaccination, microbial fermentation, and the pasteurization. His research in chemistry led to remarkable breakthroughs in the understanding of the causes and preventions of diseases, which laid down the foundations of hygiene, public health, and much of modern medicine. His works are credited to save millions of lives through the development of vaccines for rabies and anthrax. He is regarded as one of the founders of modern bacteriology and has been honored as the father of bacteriology. Okay, and as the father of microbiology, Pasteur is also regarded as the father of germ theory of diseases. Now let us go through his death. In the year 1868, Pasteur suffered a severe brain stroke. Okay, that paralyzed the left side of his body, but he was able to recover during that time. A stroke or urea, that is a raised level in the blood of urea and other nitrogenous waste compounds that are normally eliminated by the kidneys. Again, in the year 1894, severely impaired his health, failing to fully recover. He died on September 28, 1895, near Paris. He was given a state funeral and was buried in the Cathedral of Notre Dame, but his remains were reinterred. That is, reinterred means bury again, often in a different place to that of the first burial. Okay, that was near the Pasteur Institute in Paris, in a vault covered in depictions of his accomplishments in Byzantine mosaics. Okay, all his accomplishments were kept near that particular Pasteur Institute. Here you can see Louis Pasteur last word on his death. Louis Pasteur died on September 28, 1895. His last words were, "One must work, one must work. I have done what I could." Here you can see the entire profile of Louis Pasteur. This is all about contributions of Louis Pasteur to the field of microbiology. I, Dr. Pratibha KS, signing out for the day. Stay tuned with me. I'll be back with some more videos. Thank you everyone for watching this video.